In Tears of the Kingdom's memory sequence, we learn about a time period referred to as the Ancient Past, a time when Hyrule Kingdom is just being established by King Rauru, a Zonai, and Queen Sonia, a Hylian. What is interesting is that through all those memories, nowhere in the cutscenes do we see the Sheikah. We see other Hylians, we see Zonai, we see the Goron, Rito, Zora, and Gerudo sages. We see all of the races, except for the Sheikah. So if the Ancient Sheikah were so prominent in Breath of the Wild, where are they in the ancient past of Tears of the Kingdom? The Sheikah tribe has existed since the beginning of time, as far as the Zelda timeline is concerned. In Breath of the Wild, the Ancient Sheikah were responsible for all of the ancient technology. In the sequel, the focus turns to the Zonai, whose ancient relics descend upon Hyrule and play a major role in the inevitable conflict with Ganondorf. The Zonai King Rauru, however, is the last of his people. It's just him and his sister Mineru. Mineru's role in the monarchy is left somewhat unclear, but what is clear is that she maintains the knowledge of her people, including their darkest secrets. Mineru's relationship to the Hyrulean kingdom appears to have some similarities with the Sheikah's relationship with the kingdom in previous titles. So again I ask, where were the Ancient Sheikah in the ancient past of Tears of the Kingdom? And what does Mineru have to do with it? This is Chat Nation with a theory about the mysterious connections between Mineru, the Zonai, and the Sheikah. This is my first theory video, so if you enjoy it, I would greatly appreciate it if you would like the video and let me know what your thoughts are on the evidence I put together. And if you would like to see more Zelda or Nintendo content from me, I hope you consider subscribing. Let's start by talking about the similarities between the Zonai and the Sheikah to help bridge the gap. These groups both serve as the ancient people in both Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. The Zonai are the ancient people to the story of Tears of the Kingdom. The ancient Sheikah play a major role in the calamity of 10,000 years ago. One of the major similarities between them is they both built shrines all across the land of Hyrule and used them in some form or another as a defense mechanism against those that threatened Hyrule. While the Sheikah shrines were designed specifically as a defense mechanism against the Great Calamity, the Zonai shrines were simply utilized by Rauru to seal the monsters away and have an unknown origin. I won't speculate in this video why puzzles exist in the Zonai shrines, we can save that for another time. But we know that the shrines were not created as a mechanism to train Link against Ganondorf, since we see them even before Ganondorf launches his first attack against Hyrule. It's important to point out that even though technology seems to get more impressive the farther back in time you go in the Zelda series, the Shrines of Light appear far more archaic than the ancient shrines built by the Sheikah. It's obvious comparing Breath of the Wild to Tears of the Kingdom that the Zonai predate the Sheikah. But it's a fact I'd like you to have at the forefront of your mind as we continue. A fascinating design choice for both Rauru and Mineru is the presence of the Mind's Eye on their forehead. Although we never see Mineru's open, we do see Rauru's eye open when he activates his light power. Where this gets interesting is that under their third eye, both have henna on the bridge of their nose that resembles a tear. The fact that we see a depiction of the eye and tear that make up the symbol of the Sheikah we've all become too familiar with throughout the Zelda series is a major revelation. There's another depiction of tears falling from an eye in Tears of the Kingdom, and it's actually the reason the game is called Tears of the Kingdom. Mineru tells Zelda, during her quest to learn how to return back to the future, about the forbidden act of Draconification. Draconification is the act of swallowing one's secret stone and being blessed with eternal life, losing oneself in the process and becoming immortalized as a dragon. After Zelda swallows her secret stone, she becomes the Light Dragon. Sometime after that, she sheds 11 tears across Hyrule, memories for her appointed knight to discover so that he may learn what truly transpired so long ago. The memories are somehow viewed by an ancient people who drew the geoglyphs around the tears to honor the memory left behind. It's worth noting that the geoglyphs were not drawn by Zonai, since Mineru had already separated her spirit from her body and left within the Purah Pad, and Rauru is sealed beneath Hyrule Castle with Ganondorf. Again, it is these tears that are referred to in the title of Tears of the Kingdom. They are the literal tears of the last remaining member of Hyrule Kingdom's royal family. Once Link uncovers the 11 memories, the Light Dragon appears and sheds a 12th tear at Rist Peninsula. Us getting to see the Light Dragon shed a tear is huge. Look at this image, and then look at the Sheikah eye. I feel extremely confident in saying that the Sheikah eye is a representation of the act of Draconification. The Zonai carry this mark upon their face as a representation of the forbidden act of Draconification, to be reminded of its presence. The Sheikah also carry this depiction with them at all times, and I am theorizing that is because they too are reminding themselves the impact Draconification had. For the Zonai, it may be a reminder of Dinral, Mineru, and Farash, the 3 dragons we were introduced to in Breath of the Wild. If the theory is true, then they too once held secret stones, and swallowed them to become immortalized as dragons. The Zonai, over many ages, did not want this fact lost to time, and so they place a tear upon their face, just underneath their mind's eye, to remind themselves. For the Sheikah, they too memorialize the mind's eye as a means of remembering Zelda's sacrifice and their duty to Hyrule so that one day, Link could return and defeat the Demon King. There is one more piece of evidence I'd like to cover, and I believe this is the key to proving that the Sheikah were connected to the Zonai. As of this recording, Monster Maze, an incredibly popular Zelda channel on YouTube, released a video today describing the upheaval. If you're watching this, my guess is that you've already seen his video. In his video, he had shared with him the 3D model of the stone pillar we see just above Rauru and Ganondorf before it is destroyed when Ganondorf launches Hyrule Castle skyward at the beginning of the game. He was provided this by one of his Discord users, Magic Pixie Dream Girl. The pillar is clearly of Zonai origin, but it's the constellations that are placed on top of it, almost certainly after the fact, that may be the biggest piece of evidence in support of this theory. Those constellations are a common depiction that appear on ancient Sheikah towers, shrines, and pretty much any artifact of the ancient Sheikah. So this comes as proof that the ancient Sheikah were at least aware of the presence of the Zonai. So we have a clear connection between the Zonai and the Sheikah. But like I mentioned in the introduction, we don't see any members of the Sheikah tribe during the events of the ancient past. So how come there are major story points that link the Zonai to the Sheikah? When Zelda is introduced to Mineru in what I believe is Mineru's study, Zelda hands her Purah Pad over to Mineru. We later learn that Zelda and Mineru plan to use the Purah Pad as a conduit between Zelda and Link many years later. Mineru embeds her spirit into the pad and trusts that Link will be able to reawaken her spirit when he retrieves the pad. We are led to assume that's the relevance to Mineru holding onto the Purah Pad. However, it's not the only significance of this moment. The Purah Pad, a technological advancement made by the Sheikah thousands of years into the future, ends up in the past in Mineru's possession. While she ultimately returns it to Zelda, who gives it to a construct steward to hold onto until Link arrives in the future, it's no coincidence that the Zelda team has Mineru tinker with it and borrow it between Zelda's arrival and after the imprisoning war. It is my belief that Mineru is the key that links the Zonai to the Sheikah. If we start by looking at the surface level, Mineru is the Sage of Spirit, which is depicted by the color purple, the color reserved for the Sheikah in the Zelda series. In Ocarina of Time, Impa serves as the Sage of Shadow, and her medallion is also purple. Mineru's construct workshop is located nearby the Spirit Temple, which is tucked away in the depths, only known to the Zonai until the time of Tears of the Kingdom. If you view the temple from the top, you will see that the temple resembles the Mind's Eye, another connection. Mineru is the one who is aware of the process of Draconification, clearly a secret or some long-lost knowledge of the Zonai, given that Rauru didn't seem to be aware of it. She also is technically the last remaining Zonai after Rauru gives his life to seal Ganondorf beneath the castle. Mineru is the last Zonai to protect and retain the knowledge and secrets of the Zonai. There's another pretty obvious connection between Mineru and the Sheikah. During the upheaval, Zonai artifacts fall from the sky and descend to the surface of Hyrule. For the most part, where these artifacts fall is not random. For Kakariko Village, they have the incredibly unique ring ruins. During the main storyline of Tears of the Kingdom, you can visit the ruins and read the tablets thanks to the Zonai survey team. However, you can't do anything about it because the team won't allow you to visit the floating ring ruin at the orders of Princess Zelda. Once we quell the regional phenomena at Zora's Domain, Rito Village, Goron City, and Gerudo Town, we learn that the Princess Zelda that forbade anyone from approaching the floating ring ruin was none other than Ganondorf's puppet, Phantom Ganon. Returning to Kakariko Village, you are allowed to visit the floating ring ruin. Inside is where you learn about the existence of the Spirit Temple, where you will eventually meet the 5th sage, Mineru. I'm telling you, it's not a coincidence that you learn about Mineru from these super unique Zonai structures in the village that's home to the Sheikah. So what happened? Why is Mineru so important to the history of the Sheikah? I'd like to present to you my take on the events that transpired between the Imprisoning War and the First Great Calamity. Mineru received the Purah Pad from Zelda. She researches it and learns of the wonderful advances in technology created by the Sheikah, although at this point in time, that technology doesn't exist. When Ganondorf attacks the kingdom and kills Queen Sonia, Mineru has the foresight to know that Rauru and the Kingdom of Hyrule may need a backup plan if they are not able to defeat the Demon King. Mineru knows that the Secret Stones alone will not be enough to defeat Ganondorf, since he too has his own. They had just fought him in the Imprisoning War, 7 Secret Stones to his 1, but were unable to defeat him. With this in mind, she reaches out to a Sheikah woman named Impa. This Impa is likely of high status within the Sheikah clan. Mineru confides in her that although the Demon King has been sealed away, there will be a day that he returns to finish what he started. She shares what she has learned from the Purah Pad and how to develop this technology. With Mineru's knowledge of building constructs, Impa can combine that with the technology of the Purah Pad to eventually develop what will become known as Sheikah technology. Mineru entrusts to Impa the task of creating the divine beasts, each to be piloted by a sage in the future. These divine beasts would resemble the 4 races and the beast that looks over them. The Zora shall create an elephant, the Rito shall create an eagle, the Goron shall create a salamander, and the Gerudo shall create a camel. Impa and the Sheikah monks are also entrusted with the task of creating the shrines in a similar vein to the Shrines of Light. They will be used to train and hone Link's skills in the future so that he may be prepared to face the Demon King, even if he is wielding the sword that seals the darkness. The monks will remain in the shrines so that they may impart the Spirit Orb onto him and strengthen him. Mineru also shares the secret of Draconification, and that Zelda intends to swallow her secret stone and become an immortal dragon. After Zelda in fact swallows her secret stone, the Sheikah people come across her tears. Because of their magical abilities, they are able to view the memories and understand their importance. They take a key element from those memories and create geoglyphs so that the hero who was intended to see those memories could easily find them and provide a clue as to what happens in those memories. In order to remind the Sheikah of their great mission to honor Zelda's requests after she underwent Draconification, they take inspiration from her sacrifice and adorn the dragon's eye with a tear falling from it on their clothing and artifacts of significance. This shall be the symbol of the Sheikah. From this point on, the Sheikah will openly become servants to the kingdom, but also secretly working in the shadows to ensure their original plan of executing Zelda's wishes is accomplished, much like the sages execute their plan at Zelda's wish, of passing on their sagehood to a descendant. With Mineru sealed within the Purah Pad, no one but Impa and the Sheikah monks know of the Sheikah's true purpose in serving the kingdom, protecting the secrets the Zonai kept for so long. Over time, this purpose was lost, and the relationship between the royals and the Sheikah became master and subordinate. However, with the divine beasts created, Hyrule had the tools it needed to fend off the calamity. The wheels were set in motion, and the kingdom simply had to wait until Link arrived to defeat the Demon King. So what do you think about all of this? I think I've made a pretty compelling case for the Zonai being the influence for the Sheikah to play the role they did in Breath of the Wild, and that Mineru was at the heart of it. Mineru was the one who galvanized the Sheikah while Zelda was recruiting the sages. Please feel free to give your thoughts in the comments. Like I mentioned at the beginning, this is my first theory video, so if you enjoyed it, I would greatly appreciate a like on the video and your thoughts in the comments so we can continue the conversation. If you are interested in my other theories about Tears of the Kingdom, I hope you consider subscribing to my channel. I don't have many videos, but I have plenty of shorts that have quite a few mini theories in there. I also plan on recording a few more long-form theories I have on the game. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll chat soon, Chat Nation.